In Madrid for the NATO summit, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has backed calls for allies to stand up to Russia for as long as it takes.
Vladimir Putin should be under no illusion that the world is just going to say, oh, well, this is too hard, we'll just move on.
Meanwhile, Turkey has agreed to support Finland and Sweden's applications for NATO membership, backing down on its earlier threat to veto their bid. Sweden and Finland made the decision to join NATO after Russia's invasion of Ukraine, of course. Joining me now to discuss this and more is Grey Television's White House correspondent, John Decker. John, good to talk to you again. NATO is only getting stronger if you've got those two countries looking to join. It's not exactly what Vladimir Putin intended when he invaded Ukraine.
No, that's a very good point. At the very beginning of this, February the 24th, the percentage of the citizens of Finland, the citizens of Sweden who wanted to join NATO was around 30%. Now it's upwards of 75 to 80%. And the reason being is because they recognize what happened to Ukraine could happen to them. Finland shares an 800-plus mile-long border with Russia. That's too close for comfort, and they really wanted the security that's provided by being under the NATO umbrella.
Now, presumably President Biden would be one looking to welcome Sweden and Finland into the NATO alliance. What are the other countries likely to do you think?
Oh, it's unanimous consent. That's the way NATO works, and that's the reason why what happened yesterday with the announcement that Turkey, President Erdogan of Turkey, had dropped his objections to Finland and Sweden joining the defense alliance was such a big deal. That paves the way for the formality of welcoming these two countries into the NATO fold. Every other NATO country welcomes these two new members, and now the NATO alliance will number 32 nations. 32 nations now comprise the defense alliance known as NATO.
Yeah, it's a very big summit this time round because apart from those 32 nations, you've got partner nations a long way from the North Atlantic, including Australia, of course, and that's a pretty significant show of strength, especially given what's going on in Ukraine and especially given how much Russia and China have been collaborating lately.
That's exactly right. And the reason why these partner nations have been invited right here to Madrid is not only because of the situation involving Russia's invasion of Ukraine, but also the threat that Beijing, but China poses to the rest of the world. And that's the reason why you have the leaders of Australia, of South Korea, of Japan here in Madrid for the NATO summit. This is the most consequential NATO summit in recent memory because of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. All of the members of NATO recognize that, and that's why, you have such incredible attendance by each of the leaders of NATO and around the world attending this conference.
Yeah, fascinating stuff, important stuff. We'll have more on that later in the program.